if all you ever come to that circle with is what you need from them, rather than what you can, like, what we can exchange, how we can reciprocate care and resources, then you don't want to be a community member. You want to be a colonizer. Dang.
Show love, nigga. It don't show nothing. It don't cost nothing to show a nigga love. Nigga. Show a nigga some love.
Say bon. Okay. I like it.
Okay. Welcome back to the Golden Ghetto Podcast, where the culture receives their flowers in real life. I'm your host, Ayonna, and today we have a hyena up in the building. Word of sway. This woman is a phenomenal woman, as the poets shall say. She is a poet in residence at Lincoln Center. She is an author of Woke Baby and many more. And she is my mentor. So this is a very, very, it's a full circle moment for me. And I'm just so grateful to be in conversation and just really get into her journey, owning your own truth, and how to build intentional community. So thank you guys for watching, and let me welcome Dr. Mahogany L. Browne.
Hey. I am so thankful to be here. Ayonna, you are the one. You really are. I'm just so proud of you. This is so amazing. This setup is amazing. Your outfit is amazing. Like, you're just like building on building. So well done. And thanks for having me here.
I appreciate you so much. How are you feeling today?
I feel great.
Okay. Yes. And I wanted to really just get into the beginning because I feel like we know you as the Mahogany L. Browne.
Okay.
But who was the little girl? What was the dream as a child?
Funny. The dream. We'll wait for my mom to turn her ringer off.
No, but
Wow.
that's an affirmation.
Right?
The dream was...
What was the dream? When I was growing up, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I was in love with storytelling. I was in love with books. I tell the story all the time where I used to check out books from the library, the local library. And I would keep the ones that hadn't been checked out in a long time, and I returned some others so I could check more out. And then I ended up getting caught because they called my mom and snitched on me and was like, yeah, you have about a $500 balance for late books.
Oh, my God.
This is when late fees was a real thing.
Yeah.
And my mom came into the room, and I had, stealthily made a bookcase of all these found jewels behind the door. So anytime she would come in, she wouldn't see these books that they were talking about. So this time she came all the way in and looked behind the door, and there's this bookshelf. I had to turn them all back in. I had to do some volunteer work at the library, but it only fortified my love for literature and for language. And I decided then and there I'm going to be a storyteller. I'm going to be a novelist.
Wow. So it was already written?
Always.
Wow.
Always. Yeah. I love talent shows and performing. That was fun. But like what really made my heart beat was writing a story and sharing that one story with so many people and just like listening to like what they thought, how it affected them. It changed the trajectory of my life because that one time in 4th grade where we made a book from cardboard paper and wallpaper and then wrote a story inside. That begat the young girl who fell in love with the stacks at the library, who begat who I have become today, which is not just a poet who started on the stage at the New Eurekan, but, and I say started on the stage as in I was hosting for the first time in a real way there. But I started in Oakland reading and writing and performing poems. But the book, like having a book that was my own, that didn't happen until 2001.
Wow.
Yeah. That was well after I moved to New York in 1999 and just kept going from there.
Wow. So the journey, it's been a journey of faith, I feel like. Have you feel like it's been more faith than strategy, or has it been a mixture of both and the navigation?
That's a great question. I think it's a mixture of both, right?
Okay.
The faith is, this is my purpose. I have to do this. I came to New York as a journalist. While I was, writing poems in Oakland, I was never paid as a full-time artist.
Yes.
I was working as a Sprint operator. I was working as an office assistant at the Children's Hospital in Oakland. And I was writing articles on the side for this like small hip hop publication outside of this man's house. Fast forward, I get the residency. I come to New York. I'm at Double XL for the summer, working around the founders of Honey, and just like really finding that, you know, the music that made me, like the hip hop culture and the music, was also worthy of being written about.
Yes.
And being paid for, right? You don't just have to do something for free because there's a baseline or a mainstream that deems it not professional enough or not worthy enough. So I had found, you know, my people. But then, I quit. So that's where the faith came, because there had no strategy.
That was God.
There was no strategy. I just decided, all right, you know, I lost one job and then I was getting another one still in the industry. And then I just stopped trying to be in the industry. I was like, I'm going to make something else happen with my writing. Because one, it's not safe. At that point, it was like the misogynoir was heavy. You know, I would go on these spaces to do articles on many of your favorites. Some we know of now, some who are long gone. But to put yourself in harm's way just because I was a woman, like that kept coming up.
Wow.
You know, so I decided I'm just going to write these poems. I'm not going to put myself in that position anymore for someone to threaten me or, you know, diminish my worth because I'm the one woman in the room. Fast forward, I think a year in and maybe 6 months in, I'm like, oh no, it's not clicking. Like I've tried everything. I tried the open mics. I tried the slam. And I think I was on like that last, all right, if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to go back to just working at a hospital. You know, I have a kid. At that point, my daughter was 4.
Wow.
And it's not, you know, I wanted to be honest. Like, as much as I love art, I love my child more. So if I can't make a living doing this, then I have to figure out another way, another time.
Yes.
And that moment of clarity was also met with, like, you know, a bounty of you know, all of that constant effort. And I had sealed the deal and signed my first contract as a voiceover artist, doing some script for Hennessy with Isaac Hayes. And that was the beginning, right? It was like just enough to keep me in Brooklyn still. And then I then started writing more poems. And after that, I got picked up to do like a really good tour, opening up a poetry concert. And that's all she wrote. I never turned back. So a little bit of strategy, but a lot of faith.
Wow.
A lot of faith. And once it was in, you know, it was in motion, I had to like mindfully put myself in places where, all right, I know what's at stake. You know, I've walked across the bridge before because someone didn't pay me for a poetry set. And sometimes they couldn't afford it because no one was there, right? You have to figure out, are we doing this as community or do you really know what you're doing?
Yeah.
And then sometimes they would have a lot of people there and just had decided, because I didn't sign a contract, I didn't know that was necessary yet, that, oh, we can give you, you know, $5, we can give you $20. So you have those moments where you're like, okay, this is lovely, but at what cost? At what cost am I going to do this? And the strategy then became, how do I create more spaces for this to be seen as an actual living, as an actual occupation, rather than just a hobby. And so using poetry, using journalist techniques for the poetry world was my strategy.
That is profound. And I'm so proud of you because it's very inspiring to me, because I think like being young and trying to navigate coming into the industry, and you experience things like that, like, you know, people not giving you a seat at the table because they don't feel like you're worthy of it. They don't see it in you. And it's a lot of just, I'm at a stage now where I'm like, okay, I want to be able to build my own. And I think that the table's going to speak for itself. So what advice would you give to like a poet or just an artist coming in, trying to navigate in this industry, and like lessons that you feel like you needed to learn coming in?
Lessons you need to learn as a poet coming in. I would definitely say you need to learn how to be a part of community. We have a lot of folks who think the word community, but they're actually perpetuating networking, right? So you need to be mindful of who you're in community with. Folks believe that, oh, I said bop, 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 and so, I stand on business. You can stand on business all you want, but we're not going to get free that way.
Yeah.
And poetry is not just a transactional right method of making a living, of talking to the community, of talking to the politicians, of talking about what's happening right now in current events. It is a tool for the people.
Yes.
And if we're talking about liberation, we're also talking about paying dues.
Yes.
Have you mentored someone, or have you just asked for a mentor?
Ooh.
Right? How does that show up for you? Are you taking care of your mentors, right? How do you show up for the folks who showed up for you, right?
Yes.
So I would say, one, really think about the ecosystem that you want to be a part of and how you can strengthen that community, not just feed off of it.
I think community is being thrown around. The word community
You mean networking? Right? You're like, y'all mean networking. Come on.
Yes. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, but I think people don't really know what real community looks like.
Yes.
So I want to know. Let's get into it. What is real community? What does that look like?
I think it starts small, right?
Okay.
It can be babysitting. It can be editing poems. It can be bartering. If you braid my hair, I will edit your book. If you can help me watch my kids or watch my pets, right?
Yes.
I will help you figure out what you're going to wear for the next couple of weeks because I'm trying to be a fashion style, whatever it is. The barter system is absolutely on the table. I think if we just look at what the Black Panther Party did, right? Like they showed us how to organize in smaller spaces so that your actual community, your neighbors, the kids in your neighborhood, the elders in your neighborhood can also see the effects of our everyday, handlings of each other.
Yes.
So start small. Think of the ecosystem. What do you need and what can you give?
Yes.
But if all you ever come to that circle of vibrant community members, of authors and artists, of lawyers, of doctors, of shoemakers, of graphic artists, if all you ever come to that circle with is what you need from them, rather than what we can exchange, how we can reciprocate care and resources, then you don't want to be a community member. You want to be a colonizer.
Dang. Hey, we got a clip.
I love a soundbite.
Oh my God.
Right?
Can you say that again?
I can't.
I want to hear that.
I was freestyling. I'm going from the heart.
Listen, wait. And you Brooklyn raised, right?
No, I'm from Oakland, California.
Oh, we
You got a Cali one.
What?
This is true.
Oh, you from Oakland too?
Yes,
Wow.
and the producer. That's how I knew it was good, baby.
So how has growing up in Oakland contributed to the person you are today?
It's wild. So my mom, who is here in the studio,
Aww.
she's a real one as well, like one of the realest, She gave me my first NAACP nomination, just writing poems about her.
Wow.
And her survival and her story. She had me, took me somewhere after, domestic violence issues permeated the area. And NorCali for the first, 18 years. I think from 19 to 21, it was all back in the Bay, and then it's 19 to 21 back in the Bay, back and forth, and then 21 to 23, only Oakland before I left for New York. Wow. So I've actually been in New York longer than I've been in Cali. That's crazy.
So
to date,
you were New York.
I heard that you're not allowed to call yourself a New Yorker if you wasn't born here. You from here, so tell me what's the rules.
Okay. That they do. That is kind of
they
like
be big mad.
They do be big mad. But I don't know. I feel like we can adopt you. I don't know. Like I like you.
Adopt it.
Yeah. It could be. We could do both. I think once you in a place for a longevity of time, the place becomes you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a part of what you contributed to the New York is,
Thank you.
Like New Yorkers ain't contributing the way you contributed.
Thank you.
They should be from ugly. Okay. So no, but I think that is a process. Some people say like, oh, you got to be from high school, you got to have this, and I understand because the cultural dynamic of growing up. But I think that we are all here to experience life in different places. You shouldn't let where you are or where you grew up define who you're going to become.
Come on now. That was also a soundbite, baby. You did that.
Is it on?
It is.
So I want to get into intentionality because I think that as a writer, you have to be very intentional about where the poem is leading you.
Okay.
Where has it come from and where is it going to take you?
Okay.
So I think being intentional is a big theme for me this season, and I'm pretty sure just as I know you. What are you being more intentional about right now?
Well, you said it earlier, intentional community.
Okay.
I think I wrote that somewhere, and I mean it, right? I mean, if I say that I love you, I'm going to show up in that way. But I also need to accept if that love is able to flourish.
Yes.
And sometimes we just need to be intentional about how much energy we put into certain spaces. Is the energy feeding us back? Is it reciprocated?
Yes.
Is the energy becoming super negative? Like, I had moments where I would be going to certain venues in New York City and I would not feel well. Like my body would have an adverse reaction to the space because I was constantly, I could feel myself trying to teeter the line between, I'm going to tell you what it really is because I'm over this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just play nice and I'm going to stay away. And so I kept on finding myself not feeling well, you know, my well-being was affected by the negativity in certain spaces. And I think we all come to that point.
Yes.
Just where you're like, is it funny? Is it shade? Or do you really mean that? Are you really like, are you trying to harm me emotionally?
Yeah.
So how are we intentional with our language? How are we intentional with our friendships? If I love you, I'm gonna call you out or I'll call you in, right? Calling out feels adversarial, but calling in feels like, no, I love you. I love you so much. I want you to do better, and I'm willing to do this walk with you. So yeah, I think we can be intentional in various ways. Where are we shopping? Right? Who am I spending my money with? I haven't shopped in Target since the boycott. And I was a Target lady. All right. I haven't shopped at Target nor Starbucks. Starbucks longer. It's been almost 2 years.
Wow.
Because I want to be intentional with my money, right? Because my money is a part of, it can go back into the community. Why am I giving money elsewhere where I don't feel welcome or where I know you're using those funds for war, right?
Yes.
When I'm thinking about poetry, when I'm thinking about language, I think intentionality also, it matters what you say.
Yes.
You can't say a throwaway statement and then be like, oh, I was just playing, or it ain't like that. No. You're a linguist.
Linguistic.
Right? You rap, you write poems, you write songs, you write a blog. That's your job. Your job is to say the word and to bring the word forward. And if you don't mean the word that you say, then maybe sit with it, right? Aggregate that water, let it flow, and then fill out if that is exactly what you want to say or not. Or just say, I really don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to work something out. But own that too. You got to be accountable. So I think intentionality goes next to accountability. Yeah, they go hand in hand.
And it is so crazy that you say that because it's very real. And I think poetry has been like a form of therapy for me. And I think as artists, we have a job. We have it's a gift to be able to speak the truth.
Yeah.
And they always say the truth will set you free. I want to know, is there one truth that has set you free that you have gotten to by writing?
I love that you said that you look at poetry as therapy.
Yeah.
And I just want to challenge you to consider if you're looking at poetry as a therapeutic tool, because therapy is therapy, right? And I think we've conflated the way we conflate community with network. We've conflated therapy and mental health wellness options with like writing. And I think there's like several steps. The therapist or the psychologist, that's the part of the therapy, right? But like you need to know how to get to them. Like they can't just look at you and say, I know what's up. But if they look at your poems, right, they have a legend to help you figure out how to get free. That's one.
Ooh.
Two, I think the most honest thing I wrote, it comes in waves. It comes in waves. I think my obsession with writing a certain theme around abandonment, around Black girls reclaiming space, and joy, and their own beauty, our own beauty standards outside of the white gaze, and so like Black Girl Magic, Single Mother Song, and the entire collection of Redbone, those are all from a Black feminist perspective, and a womanist lens, and I believe that. Yeah, those are like the three pillars that saved me. Those are the most honest I could be. I'm scared because, whatever abandonment issues that I have, and I recognize that this specific country that we are all tethered to currently has only made it possible, like more possible, to feel alone and isolated, and disregarded and diminished as a brown-skinned Black woman.
Yes.
And when I think of like Black Girl Magic, it only brings me back to like, the matriarchs in my family, all the things that they gave up, all they sacrificed for me to be here.
Yes.
So yeah, they're the truth. So I feel like I'm really just a container for those stories that this country would rather us forget.
Wow. That leads me to a place that I want to go, because I feel like living in this country, they're trying to rewrite our truth. And like the poets, the artists, we're here to say like our truth cannot be swindled with. Yeah. Like I'm here and I'm going to write whatever I want to write.
That's right.
Right. So I think that in a world where we live in I believe we co-create our reality. Okay. But in society, there is a white gaze upon us. How do you write your truth when they're trying to navigate? Like they push back. They're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to do well. Like how has that journey been? Because I know that even for me, they were like, oh, if you cater to just Black writers, you're only going to have a certain. And I'm like, girl, I'm not worried about you.
You did it right. Toni Morrison taught you well.
Yes.
Like I'm writing the story that I want to write. And if you're interested in writing to the white gaze or the European voice or whatever, you write that. You know what I mean? Like, turns out I'm my boss. Turns out I'm writing my story. I'm writing what I see. That is your only job.
Yes.
Ayonna, we need you to write it plain because they want us to believe that what we're seeing is not the truth.
Yes.
So you and everything you write is our armor against the gaslighting, right? When I write, I am writing against erasure. I am writing against marginalization. And you can get with it or you can step aside, but it's going to happen no matter what. I used to get caught up in that's not ladylike. I remember this man said that to me and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, when you said that word, that's not ladylike. And I said, well, it's mine. Like, I'm literally writing about my body and you're telling me not to because it's not ladylike. Well, it's mine. So maybe you write about your body in the way that you see fit.
Yes.
And I will mind my business and write about my body the way I see fit. So I think, it's about deciding who you here writing for. Maybe somebody wants to write towards that.
Yeah.
It's not up to any singular person to say this or, but I'm not going to accept the challenge of, what's the word? Softening the obvious obstructions so that you deem me palatable. I'm not into it. Like, stay mad. I don't know. I can't really, at this point, I just got to live with me. You know what I mean? I got to love me.
Yes.
Because when I was thinking about, well, maybe I should write, something that's, bite-sized and ready for Insta.
Yes.
I'm still not happy. I'm not fulfilled. And you learn that that's the first line of defense, your own joy. Your own joy is the first line of defense, because if you're joyous, they can't puncture that, right? Yes. They can't topple it. Yes. They can only watch.
Damn! I love talking to poets. I really do love talking about this.
Poets go.
Yo, poets are like you. They are the sweetness. You guys are the honey.
No lie.
The honey, the bee. Like, when you really need a conversationalist, you have to go to the poets, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Do it.
Go to the poets. The poets will take you.
I promise.
The poets will set you free.
This is the honey.
Yes. This is the honey and the bees.
Yes.
Okay? But I want to say, because I think as a writer, I experienced moments where I looked for outside validation to deem my work as worthy. And I think that's a whole journey within itself, because it's like, okay, I'm done with this poem and I'm reading it and I'm trying to put on my poet voice and it doesn't sound authentic to me. Yeah. Or I'm trying to just like see, where does this belong? So it's like, how have you found validation in your own work so that you didn't need to look outside? Or how is that process, your journey with validating as a writer?
I think, let me talk about the journey.
Okay.
Because I think the journey will reveal the process.
Ooh.
So the journey is, I started in slam.
Yes.
As like a performance poet. It was like, that was like the largest part of my, burgeoning roots.
Yes.
When I was beginning, the slam was the workshop space. Mm-hmm. It was the dual space. Mm-hmm. It was everything.
Yes.
And it then at one point I had to fall out of love with it because it had so much weight. That score that I would be given from a random person, which is great. Like I love the faculties of it.
Yes. But
if they didn't like my poem, they could like break my heart, right? And then I had to like fall out of love with that to like realize, no. This is just a workshop space.
Yes.
This is not the end all be all. The score does not determine your value. So now what? Mm-hmm. I return to it knowing I'm only using this to sharpen the sword. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to all these different walks of life. You don't have the same kind of makeup of a crowd at a slam that you have it at open mic. Because some open mics are like, this is a punk open mic, this punk rock, or this is, all queer, or this is all Black voices, or this is only women. Like you have those very, specific groups that can have, the open mic space. Whereas slam, everybody coming. And you never know who's going to be in the audience. It can be, a rapper that started, a very amazing sector of hip hop. Yes. It can be somebody who's running commercials. It can be a kid from NYU, Columbia, Barnard. You never know. Yes. How do you talk to each one of those folks from different walks of life at different points in their life with the same poem? Yes. And that's how I used it. That's when I realized, okay, if I can just tell this poem to all these people and get the reaction of, maybe I want them to feel vulnerable. Maybe I just want them to look at their neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, we made that. Like, whatever it is, if I can get a consensus from my audience, then I succeeded at my poem. So that's how I use the space specifically to figure out if the poem or my voice was valid. But otherwise, I feel like when you write, you won. When you write the poem, when you write the hard thing, word to Kabe Khanum founder, Toy Derricotte, write the hard poem. When you can do that, that means you are ready to not just name and see the dragon, but slay it. Yes. And no longer be a victim of, the shadows or fearing who you may be or may not be. You're no longer afraid of your own reflection. You're excited to just shine.
Wow. Yeah. And I think poetry leads you to different aspects of yourself because it really is a mirror.
Where did it lead you?
It led me to reflect the darkest version of myself so I can transmute it into the lightest. Like it led me to my shadow, and then it led me to my higher self, and then it led me to my ego. I was playing ping pong with the 3. I was like, doo, 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 doo. But at the end of it, it led me to finding my own voice and owning that, because I think I struggled with speaking growing up, speaking up for myself. And I didn't really, I had the words to say, but they were like stuck upon my throat chakra. Like it was a blockage within. And poetry allowed me to open up that blockage within.
Yeah.
And like really see all the words I never got to say.
Right.
Word to Fontobalo.
Right.
So I think that poetry has definitely been a tool in my healing journey. It was the first thing that...
That's it.
Yes. It was the first thing that allowed me to... I feel like I wrote my future self into existence with poetry. Because I allowed myself to... I gave grace to who I was, and it allowed me to write myself out of that period to get to who I am. Yes. And I want to say, I thank you so much, because community, like we were talking about intention in community, we're talking about mentorship. Sometimes it's hard. People are always asking for mentorships, and it's like you don't really want to just go anywhere. You want to go where it feels right.
Right.
And from the first day I met you, I said, hey, this is my ghetto, okay? This is somebody that not only I admire, I inspire to be as great as you, you know?
And you inspire me.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
Yes. And I think with writing, because I know writing is our tool, and it causes us to go to different places. But you touch on deep topics. And a part of sometimes your imagery is so real that it feels like a short film. Like I'm reading your stuff and I'm like, I'm imagining a movie as we speak.
I love that.
And so when you write and you like reveal some dark parts, how do you not let that get to you? Like what's that process, that self-care process in writing to not let you fathom in the darkness?
Sorry, poet. I saw what you did there.
Listen, I said,
That was nice.
thank you.
How do you not get swallowed up by the hard stuff? Yeah. I had to learn, I think, the hard way. Like anyone else. You think you're ready. You wrote the poem and you're like, all right, I'm ready.
Yes.
And then you read the poem in public and you are weeping, you're sloppy, you're falling over. To which I always say, don't do the poem. I care more about your well-being, your humanity, than what that poem is going to make me feel.
Yes.
Right? Because I care about the person more than I care about the poem. The poem is beautiful, thank you. But you also are a poem. And we need to keep ourselves safe. And sometimes that poem that you wrote just don't need to be shared. Right? So whatever healing work you need to do, whoever you need to speak to, whatever conferencing you need to have with your therapist or your pastor or your parents or your sibling or your tribe, do that. And then come back to the stage with it. But don't take yourself out for the stage.
Yes.
Because the stage is just another place. It's just another place. But it has sometimes irreparable damages, right? You have people who do a poem and they realize that they weren't really ready to say that poem in public. And now they said it, and this person is saying this, and maybe they were scared that the parent was going to... I've had all of those things happen.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the day, the only thing that mattered was the actual person who wrote the poem.
Wow.
So the self-care is me knowing if I can walk away from this no matter what. Am I going to be okay with the world knowing this poem? Am I ready to share this poem? Am I ready to continuously talk about this poem?
Yeah.
Because you know what happens. You do a poem that hit.
Nah, everybody want to hear.
I want to talk to you about all the things that happened to me. And you're like, baby, I'm trying to come out the dark right now. Like, this is not what I anticipated.
Yes.
So I'm like 100% a supporter of just make sure whatever you write, however hard it is, it's ready for, public consumption. Sometimes just because we write it doesn't mean we need to share it. Yeah.
Wow.
So lean into that. Lean into like your own private space. I know Insta got us messed up. Everybody think everything need to be shared.
Yes.
But cool, share it. but are you okay? You okay, sis? You know what I mean? Like, are you okay? I don't want to see just this poetic act if it's not a part of your healing. But if it is, all, praise, let me hear it.
Yes.
But if you're not ready, that's okay too.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't always have to show up as the strongest person, but we do not have to put ourselves in harm's way for public consumption. I think there's a proper balance.
Wow. We have to be so honest about where we are so that we allow people to come in or people to be out. Because a poetry is sacred.
Yeah.
And I think we are the vessel, we are the light, and we're going to continue to be that. And I just want to really talk about, too, because you are the founder of the Black Girl Magic
Say
Ball.
it again so they can hear you in the back.
The founder of the Black Girl Magic. She's not just a poet. She is an organizer.
Okay.
A facilitator.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And we are actually creating events that is they're not just actual events. They're experiences. They're intentional. They're highlighting the people that are actually doing the work, the impactful work. And what was why did you feel like this space needed to be the Black Girl Magic Ball? Why? Why?
So the impetus for the Black Girl Magic Ball was I wrote this poem in 2014, and there is plenty of people in discussion about how do I say it? There's arguments about who founded Black Girl Magic, the hashtag, and even the what's the word? The slogan, right?
Yeah.
Black Girl Magic as a slogan. And I never thought about it in that way, even when I came out with the poem in 2014, even when I published a chapbook in 2014. I think about Ntozake Shange, who said, where there is Black girl, there is magic. And this poet from Texas reminded me of that, and I love that. I appreciated it very much. I also recognize that, and that was, I think, 1976, 1975, when she said that. So when you think about lineage and language and Black women and slogans that make us see ourselves clearly through, a crowded room, I think that's why it was so important for me to have this poem become an illustrated book. And when it was an illustrated book, instead of me having a regular book release, I was like, at this point, I've had, 10 chapbooks, anthologies, all these things. I want to do a book party that's more than just me sitting there reading and da-da-da-da-da. So I came up with the ball, the Black Girl Magic Ball, and she is trademarked.
Yes.
Because people try to play like you did. I was like, I didn't do anything.
Yes.
And this started as just a celebration of the book being released. A book that had been in the works for 3-4 years.
Yes.
And I didn't want to make it about mahogany because, again, that felt like it was against the purpose of what those slogans are. Think about power to the people or poetry for the people, right? Like those were things that, a person has said that has then reverberated through the community and changed the way in which we interact with each other. And I think Black Girl Magic has that. I think Careless Black Girl, I think Black Boy Smiling, Black Boy Joy. As we get into this technological space further and deeper, there are all these ways that you can just hashtag something and go to the root of what you want. What was that? I don't want to say. I know it's Black Boy Smiling was one of the hashtags, but the frolicking. Remember the frolicking trend?
Which one was that?
There was a frolicking trend where Black men would just hold the camera up, facing themselves, and run through a field, and always they'd end up like laughing, falling down, weeping with joy. Like they were like, "Oh, this is what a frolic feels like," right? And so I just love the idea of like thinking about how the sound of that call, that rallying cry, will make a girl feel no matter where she is. And that's what Black Girl Magic feels like to me. So the ball then became a lighthouse for those Black girls. And I didn't want to just celebrate the book, but I wanted to celebrate Black women in the community who remind me of my magic. So we are now coming into our 8th annual Black Girl Magic Ball. It's our 2nd year at Lincoln Center, which is incredible.
The biggest.
Yo, I thought I was ready, baby.
my
Turns out,
gosh.
me not ready.
No, you're ready. You're ready.
Yo, I'm learning, and gladly.
Yes.
And gladly. So why not have a ball where we all get to show up and show out and celebrate each other and say, I see you, sis.
Yes.
You know, and just be safe and watch other Black women be, celebrated for their endeavors in restoring, love within our own everyday practice.
Yes.
Who did we honor last year? Well, I could say who we honoring this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've added a selection. So now we also honor one ally every year who make, who's making soft places for Black girls to land. We're not doing it on our own. We're aware.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we're honoring ally Jason Reynolds.
Yes.
We're honoring Pillar Nona Hendricks.
Yes.
We're honoring Black Girl Magic purveyors, so to speak. They keeping it real in the field always.
Yes.
We have Mary Caramel Holmes, the founder of Black Star Film Festival.
Wow.
We have Sade Lifegott, the CEO of National Black Theater and daughter of Dr. Barbara Ann Tears, who founded that space and made it possible for art to be present in Harlem in a real luxurious and beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
I say luxurious because I walked through the building. I was like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Right? We got some nice stuff.
Yo.
Who else we got? Pascal Sablan, who is 315th architect, Black woman architect in the country. The fact that we're still counting tells you how few we are, right?
Yes.
And our final one, Mahogany, don't play, Rachel Cargill, mental health. She actually has one of the most, she's a bookstore owner, she's a writer, but she's also a mental health advocate and started therapy for Black women as an online resource and even raises funds to get free therapy sessions for Black women.
I definitely seen her work.
Yeah.
I think I tried to sign up. Got in an argument with her. I said,
do it.
I need that.
Yes.
I think that this is the people's Met Gala.
Yes.
This is.
I love that.
Yes. This is where we actually see the real work being getting credit for. In real life, in real time. It honestly, I feel like you're doing God's work because there's not that many people that are actually giving the flowers back into the community, providing space where we get to not only be in community, but be in actual like communion with these mentors and just people. And from the first time I went to the Black Girl Magic Ball, I said, okay, like sometimes we try to make Black not coincide with luxury or poets like urban not coincide with being gold. And I'm trying to like bridge that gap. And I think you are doing an amazing job with letting us see what we look like when we are fully in the light of spirit, you know? So,
and when we're fully thriving amongst each other.
Yes.
What happens when you walk in the room of Black women who see you and compliment you? Like, you be on a trillion, right?
Oh my God.
I literally just wrote this piece called... Can I curse?
No, girl.
Okay, just making sure.
No, yeah.
The name of the piece is You Ain't Killing That Shit Until a Black Woman Say So.
Ooh.
And it's just an essay about how Black women can see the minutia in your everydayness and bring like the glory to it. So you're reminded, no, you did that.
Yes.
I see you, you're here. You look amazing in the
Yes.
smallest ways. So when a Black woman says, okay, girl, all right, boots.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
glasses.
Yes.
All right, what did I say when I came in here? All right, Bob.
Yes,
I see you, Bob. Ooh, Bobby.
You did. I like somewhere. Yes. I don't think nobody is topping a Black woman's hype.
I'm sorry.
You know? A Black woman in general.
You can learn so much about how to give praise.
Yes.
If you just listen to a Sister Girl Circle.
Yeah.
You can learn so much. You can learn so much.
Wow.
Yeah, you learn about people's, like in that moment, you learn about how people see themselves.
Yes.
Right? And from then on, I someone say anything, my mom said, okay, I like that outfit.
Yes.
I'm walking through the day for the rest of the day, like
Yeah.
making sure everything is all right. So you can, I feel like I'm walking upright. Like Sister Sonia Sanchez would say, well, I'm walking upright.
Yes.
And that's not by chance. All right. That's the matriarchs who poured into me. That's God's work too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because I think that you are not a pioneer by force, you're a pioneer by nature. You know, like this is, you know, when they really say this in you, not on you, that's really what it is. And I'm so grateful to be in community with you. I plan to show up better as a mentee because I do life be lifing.
You be busy.
Yeah, but not busy enough to tap in. Yeah,
all good.
So I think that
we always home.
Yes, we are. This is home, and the Black Girl Magic Ball.
Come on with it.
It's also home.
Hey.
So make sure you catch us.
Yes.
May 11th.
I think we only have 30 tickets left to date, so I hope this goes out soon.
Yes.
Oh. And it's May 13th.
It's
Tuesday, May 13th.
Tuesday, May 13th, and I will link all the information in the description below. But thank you guys for watching. Continue to tap in because we have a lot of people, Renaissance women. I think this is a place for creators of impact. So please just stay blessed and stay watching.